What's going on, guys? Welcome here to another tutorial for Laravel, and in today's tutorial it's a continuation of what we did prior. Now in the last tutorial we were able to pretty much install Laravel Breeze, and in this tutorial we're going to be pretty much manipulating the very same Breeze concept. Now obviously, as you all know, we have to start your CMD in your Laravel folder, which is what we have here. So I've already started my CMD, my workbench is running, my XAMPP is running. So obviously we're going to create a new project. Composer, create Laravel. So your composer, create project. And this one, let's call it dash. Yeah, create a project for Laravel. And this Laravel project is going to be called dash. Yeah. So if we don't encounter any network issues, you know that your Laravel will install properly without you having any issues. Now, for the sake of this tutorial, I might have to just be fast forwarding on certain parts whereby it's installing certain things. But as you can see, our Laravel is installing without problems. So remember, Laravel, for it to install, it requires you to have the best, it requires you to have the best network connection. That way you know that your system has been created. Now on this one, as you can see, our project has been created. We've got 3 tables for users and so forth. So let's go into our project called dash. We start our CMD and start our project, PHP artisan serve, which is that one. Next, we start another CMD again. This one is the one that we're going to use to install our system. Now, our main goal specifically isn't just for us to create a Laravel system, but it is for us to be able to create a system that will be able to authenticate a user from different types of from different types of users. So obviously we now know that installing a project makes it run. So obviously let's open our browser, see if our project is running correctly. So at 127, that, as you can see, our project is our project is running perfectly. Now we come back to, this is our folder, sorry for those notifications, and this is our CMD file for the server that is running, and this is the one that we're going to be using to edit our system. Now I advise you to automatically then add your project onto your text editor at the very same moment, because with this one, unlike the previous one where we were just installing and installing and installing, we have to change or modify a few things. So Control Shift A for me to add my project folder, Laravel. Our project folder is called dash. So as you can see, this is our project folder. Now within our project folder, after adding it, we are now going to start manipulating it. But obviously, let's start by manipulating our database. Now obviously we know that our database is not an SQLite, it is a MySQL. And for the database, I'm just going to call it dash. Then I'm going to save this. I'm going to start also my PHP my admin so that I can be able to create the dashboard. So to be able to create that database. So PHP my admin running, then I create my database for For dash. New database, and this database we're still going to call it dash. We create it, and there's our dash, which is empty tables and empty information. So after creating our database, it now means that we no longer really need to manipulate this file, but we are going to be manipulating certain files. For example, we're going to talk about something called middleware. We're going to talk about something called authentication, and we're going to add certain columns inside our database. So based on our current project, which is this, we can see that we still don't have our login and register page. So it means that we now need to go and add our login and register page. So CMD, on our CMD inside our project folder, we're now going to type the command to use to use Breeze, which is composer require Laravel And Laravel, you're requiring something called Breeze, specifically for development. Spelling mistake there. Composer require Laravel, Breeze, stuff like that. Now this is going to start downloading the Breeze package for you and installing it. And after installing, we need to manipulate, or we need to actually install the Breeze package. As you can see, it is installing all the Breeze packages. So next we're going to have PHP artisan Breeze, and then we're going to tell it what to install. And it is going to ask you which option, and we want the blade option, which is the number 1, which is this one, not the live wire or anything, but just the blade. And we want the dark mode support. No, we don't need dark mode support. Which unit? We are using the PHP unit, which is 1. And then it starts installing all these frameworks. So as it downloads and installs and builds these frameworks, your network speed is the most important. If your network speed is not that fast, chances are it is going to take more time than required. At this point, I'm just going to wait for it, and then we see it once it's done. It might take a minute, it might take less than a minute, but once it's done, oh, finally, at least it's done. And it can tell you that Breeze scaffolding has been successfully what? Installed. So now we need to install something. We need to install an npm install, and this is a package that gets installed, very simple, very short. And then we also run the npm. After installing it, obviously we need to build it. So npm run what you call your what? Run the build, and there we have our system. Now, last time when I showed you how to install this, we automatically migrated our tables same time. But at this point, I don't want us to migrate. I want us to go and do something a little bit inside our project. If we refresh, you can see, let's just wait for that to refresh. All right, we'll sort that out just now. All right, we come back to our tables because we still need to make the connection. So inside our migration, we've got a users table that we have over here. Now on this users table, we are just going to create a new command, or let me just say we're going to add something new on it. So we're going to say table, and this is a string table or string database, and we're going to call this column, let's call it user type, and this column is going to have information that is going to be set by default. So we can specify the default command, and the default information is going to be yeah, let's just say student. That's the default keyword. We save that. Now what we just did is before we migrate these tables onto our database, we are just making sure that this new table called users has got a new column that we just created here, which is called user type, and this one will have a keyword student by what? By default. So after doing that, we can now close this page, and mind you, we did it on users, and then we can just now what? Migrate our command or migrate our table. So as we run our command, php artisan migrate, and the database doesn't exist. You want it to be created? Yes. All right, fine. So we now have our database created. The database Laravel does not exist. Oh, I didn't realize that we didn't save that file. So I take it is saved on a new database called Laravel. So let's just refresh this. Oh yes, there's the database over here, and with users, whereby we've got a user type over here. Now this is perfectly fine. Sorry about that. I didn't realize that it didn't save the database. So as you can see, your SQL command line sometimes will read that the database doesn't exist, and then it what? Pre-creates it for you. So after migrating, now we can safely say our project is done. If we refresh, then we are good to go. So next, what we're going to be now doing is, obviously we now know that when you log in, you need to have login details, and when you click register, you need to have what? Registration details. And currently on our database, there are no details inside our users, unlike just like last time. So let's go ahead and create an account. I'm going to call it Ghost. My email address is going to be Craig at JNK Designs. My password, I'll just use the basic password 12345 12345. Then I'll register my account. Alright, so password has got limitations, so which means that let me use something different. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 is numbers. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 as numbers. Voila. So yes, I know that. I don't want to save that. As you can see, we now have a dashboard whereby we've got the user called Ghost, and Ghost is logged in and so forth. So even if we were to log out and log in with the email address, which is Craig, the one that we used, and the password being 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and we are able to to log in. Awesome. Now from here you can even see that on the profile it will just say welcome Ghost what, and we can just go back to our dashboard and so forth. Now let's take a look at our database. Remember, there is one column that we added, which we said that within this database it's supposed to add a user type as student. As you can see, my user type is student. We'll do authentication and verification a little bit later on, but for now, as you can see that we now have student. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new account as well. So we used the previous one as Craig. Let's register a new account. This one, let me use this one as an email address. The password 987654321. 987654321. This is a new account. As you can see, there is now Craig, or there is now Craig. If we log in and log out, so when logging in, we now have two different accounts. If we take a look at our database and refresh, as you can see, we've got username for Ghost and for Craig, two different accounts, but one specifies that one is a one is an admin and one is not a one is a, they specify that the user type are both students, despite their different email accounts. So what we're going to do is we are going to modify one of these details. So before we do that, let's first understand that this is all coming from the column that we created, which gave a specific user type. Now what we're going to do next is we are going to edit one of the records. We can edit either this one or this one, whichever one you want. I'll edit this one. Now all I want to edit is this specific data type, not the data type specifically, but the user type information. And after I'm done, I'm just going to run this command. It saves. As you can see, we now have two different users. One is an admin and one is a user. So it means that when people are now logging in on the platform, we will now have two different types of logins, whereby one is going to be logging in as a admin, whilst one is logging in as a as a user. So this marks the first part of this tutorial. In the next one, I'll be now showing you how they log in differently.